Hello, my beautiful beloved. Just want to give you a few of my thoughts for today. First of all, I'd like to share how beautiful my birthday has been. I guess I'll put the light on here. Oh, it's the fan. Everyone was so kind. My book's coming really well. I'm just about finished. There's a few more things the more I know, the more I don't know, obviously, so it's always adding more. It's like probably was 10 books in one. Now it's more like 20 books in one. But this now is including women's health. The endocrine system, the hormonal system is very important for women to be able to supplement the estrogen. They call it hysterectomy for a reason. We're not hysterical, no. We just need some more estrogen. So that's something else I'll talk about. But I just want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart. My granddaughter's beautiful homemade card right here. And right here, my granddaughter's beautiful card. My daughter was so thoughtful to send a beautiful bracelet. I have my grandson and my granddaughter's beautiful birthstones, so delicate and beautiful. I appreciate you, Michelle, and my darling grandkids. I miss you so much. I'm praying for you, and I miss you, and I'll be there in a heartbeat. If you need me, just call, okay? And I'm just thankful for all these beautiful presents my neighbors and everyone gave me, even some watermelon, yum. So I put it all together because I made a bunch of bowls to give to my neighbors. It's always nice to share the love. My mom always said, God loves a giver. So I just want to sit down and talk a little bit about some thoughts I have. So hello, my beautiful beloved. Let's sit right over here if I can. So today's been one of those days of reflection. Just came from the store. I got a few more things, and I was just thinking, how many people are, some people are talking about a war. Like, no, we're not gonna have a war in this country. Why would we want to have a war in our own country? My father, he paid the price. 3 Purple Hearts. And now I just recently was told that because when they do MRIs now, they can tell what age things happened. So that the brain tumor that I was diagnosed with maybe 15 years ago now, that I refused to get any surgery because I've done my homework, and thank you, Jesus, for one doctor, one out of all of them, getting back to me Christmas Eve, called and said that I'm just not a good candidate for this surgery. He was, honest enough to say that. One thing I love is when a doctor says, I don't know. The magic words, I don't know. I'm reaching out to all of you for this because the way it was when I graduated in May 1980, UConn Health Center, we all put our right hand up. I was president of my class before I went to Switzerland to work overseas. I was supposed to be a missionary worker in Africa, and I ended up here in Switzerland, rather. So that's where I first started learning about holistic medicine. Even back then, I had headaches. I remember I went to the doctor. He says, "Oh, you have a headache? Oh, what's wrong?" He didn't right away just give you a pill. He wanted to talk to me about it, and it was beautiful. It was like his house, and the office was on the side, and he had his dog right in the living room, right in the room. His practice was very clean and all, but I guess the dog was there to help keep people calm. They just knew back then, how to treat the patient. Meanwhile, here in this country, there are some excellent doctors. Please don't misunderstand me, but I could not teach health to my students until I processed a lot of stuff that had happened to me. And most of it I have never talked about. I started to write some books on it. For example, The Hidden Side of a Hysterectomy. But then I went to this UConn professor to help me. He was it was in Pomfret, and he had a little course there. Of course, I paid on. He said, well, it's not ending on a happy note, so, nobody wants to read that kind of book. Excuse me, really? Guess what? It still doesn't end on a happy note. Because why? Because the fact is, we have more hysterectomies in this country than any other country in the world. And now, of course, what are they doing? They're not even satisfied to do that. They're doing C-sections on everyone. Now, hysterectomy, what does that mean, hysterical? So women, please listen, okay? Because I have something to say here. And if I don't have a chance to say it, and someday I may up and die, which I never hope I don't. But when I was found out that a lot of these things that's happening in my brain was caused by my father from his 3 Purple Hearts. So to go back to the beginning, I know I speak in parables, so you have to listen. I don't know why I've been like this my whole life. Some people go like this, hurry up, get to the point. If you don't have time for me, I guess I don't have time for you, okay? It's like that. But the point is, I love people, and I'm here to tell my story and to help people. I guess my battery's going low, so I'm going to plug it in. Yeah, so what happened was, years ago, my father was absolutely a beautiful person before he went to war. And my mom told me that, and I believe her. She told me the story, you know. They courted, they did duets. She played the piano, he played the entire brass section. That was my father. You know, she had to marry a French Catholic, and I say he's always perfect because it wasn't. Not when he came back from the war, all messed up like he did. So his 3 Purple Hearts. 1 in his ear. Get out there, boy. 2nd Purple Heart. Shrapnel in his chest. 3rd Purple Heart. His brain. So did he come back brain traumatic injury? Damn straight he did. And when that thunder happened, he'd go right into the whole PTSD complex, as they call it today. Back then they didn't know what to do with it. And actually, because we didn't have money for lawyers, the cops came a couple of times, but bring him to jail. I mean, yeah, let him sober up overnight. But once they realized we didn't have money for a lawyer, guess who got the beatings? Yeah, because everybody was in school but me, and I had to go to court with him. When we left the court, the judge says you can't be here because you have to have a lawyer. And my father got very angry, and just so happened to be really raining out that day, and then the thunder came, and so now I'm into the forgiveness, asking forgiveness again. I mean, I love my father, but I can't say he's my real father. My real father is Jesus, and that's because Jesus saved my mother's life when I was little. And the cross fell right off the wall, and when she said, "Mayday, Mayday, combien s'il vous plaît," and that cross, that with the little bottles of oil and water, I might as well just get it for you. It's right over here. Excuse me for 1 minute. This cross right here. Okay, this is not the original one. Thank you, Jesus. The only thing I do have, the original one. That's my big inheritance, by the way. Is the cross? But I have one at my house in Connecticut, and it's the only one. I inherited that and the turkey pan. Other than that, I took care of my mother. I took care of my father. I paid for both of their. I don't even want to get into it. It doesn't matter. But that's all history. But I know what I did for them, and I'll do it again because it wasn't their fault. So this cross right here, you see how it opens? Okay, this is like the Catholic cross, but there's other religions that have it too. Well, inside of it, if you could see inside of it, there was 2 candles here, and normally there's a little bottle here of oil, holy oil and holy water, like right in here, and this would be the candles. Which at my house in Connecticut, I have the real cross. This is the real cross. That when my mother was choked up against the wall, turning blue, I don't know where everybody was in my house because there's 5 kids, but that particular night, no one was home. Linda used to go to New York with Mrs. Nagy every weekend, so thank God she wasn't around for some of the action. But Joyce, Carol, and Ray were teenagers, so anyway, they weren't there, so it was just me and my mother, and my father. And he was having a mental, a complex PTSD. Again, he thought she was a soldier, and I was just such in shock that I didn't know. I just was frozen. And then when my mother said, "Mayday, Mayday, combien s'il vous plaît," this cross was against the wall he had her jacked up against, and it fell right down. And my father, you ever see a dark man turn white? He was tall, dark, Native American, French, turned pale white, sat at the table and cried like a baby for hours. I remember after that, I went up to my mom, and her and we put this cross back together. And I knew right then and there who's my father. Jesus. And he's not on the cross anymore. No. He came right down and he saved my mother. So that's my first miracle that I saw. So you see why you're so spiritual, Grace? Well, I guess why. You understand that, me now? Do you understand me? Who I am? I'm God's gift. You're God's gift. We're all God's children, right? We're called here for a temporary assignment. Every one of us. And we need to really pay attention, wake up, stay awake. I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't had times when I didn't feel like I wanted to be awake, okay? I've gone through periods of time, too, like, what the heck's going on with this world, Come on. the insurrection, all that stuff. That I never watched TV in my life. I never had time. But during that COVID, that they broke all the Constitution, like 4 of them, just like Bobby Kennedy Jr. said, and you know, without due process, without anything. So here in Florida, oh yeah, right on this TV, I heard Trump say, oh yeah, no Clorox. Like what? Okay, right. I don't want to get into political because I know a lot of my friends love Trump. Okay, whatever. Let's put all this political stuff aside. First of all, we're not supposed to be fear-based, right? Those of you who believe in Jesus, we say, what would Jesus do, right? WWJD. Would he tell everybody to get the heck out of his country? We're all from another world. This isn't even our country. This was the Native Americans. So I love Mother Earth. Father God, Mother Earth. I love all that. And I hate that they break houses down and they throw them in the earth and then they just pollute and pollute and pollute. Even clothes. I don't mind if I, tell my story now because I have a lot to say. And the fact is, I'm speaking the truth. And I think right now we all know the truth will set us free, right? So to go right back to when I'm at the store, this fellow was saying, oh yeah, we're going to have a war. And all, like he's getting ready to have a war. Who wants to have another civil war? I just broke it down to what my father did to me. You think he really meant to hurt me, to give me tumors and all these things that's showing up now in the MRIs? Do you think he really meant that? I'm the baby of the 5 kids, right? And the doctor that explained it, you think he would have said, I'm sorry this happened? And guess what he did? He stares at his computer like he's talking about the weather. How compassionate, right? It's all good. And my son says, all good in the hood, Ma. Really? Not really. I'm a dental hygienist. I started off as a patient care primary practitioner to teach preventive medicine. We took up to nutrition, 2 years of it. More than nurses, more than doctors, all of that. I'm not knocking them, but they just didn't have nutrition. We had 4 semesters. We had to make tapes for 2 years. We had to walk patients through that were hypertensive, pregnant,